to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. We are in a new setup because I moved in May, and this is my first video in my new book room. So right now I'm sitting on the floor, and this is not going to be my permanent background or my bookshelf or anything, but we did just move in. So I got a kitten. That explains that. So I have finally finished decorating a good amount of the house, and now I can finally start on my book room, which is gonna be my next project. I'm gonna get like bookshelves and a really cute like couch or something in here and like make it really cute. There'll probably be a whole video on that, but for right now this is what we're dealing with, just some old furniture holding some of my books. But I wanted to make some book content because I haven't made a book video in a really long time. And yeah, so we are doing my June reads today. Also, I got a kitten, so if you hear like noises, he's just out of control. So if you didn't know, my goal for this year is to read 100 books, and I was on track. I was doing really good. I was reading about like 10 books a month since January. And then the month of May I was moving. I moved away from like my family and my hometown and everything, so it was a lot mentally, and I just didn't want to read. I was also in a reading slump. So in the month of May, I think I only read 2 books, and I didn't really like either of them. If you want to know which ones they were, I do have a Bookstagram and also my Goodreads and whatnot. But yeah, so this month, June, I was like, I got a job now, I'm settled in, like I can finally get back to like my own hobbies. So I picked up some books. I tried to get out of my reading slump, and I really definitely did. I think I read 8 or 9 books this month, which is really good because I was falling behind. But okay, starting off the month, we kicked off the month with the best book. The best book. This got me out of my reading slump, and it got me so excited to read again. This is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I had been hearing about this for the longest time, and I just kept passing over it at Barnes & Noble. And then I went to my Barnes & Noble here where I live now. This was like one of the only books that I recognized that they had on like the table. And I was like, I have nothing to read. I'm in a reading slump. Let's just read it. And I honestly went in blind. I didn't even know anything about this book. And it has become one of my favorite reads. It might be in my top 5 of the books I read this year. And I've read, I think, 43 books as of right now. So that's pretty good. I'm not going to say for sure until we get through the year. But I freaking love this book. It broke me and then put me back together. And it was just like, the love interest in this book is actually deaf, and he doesn't speak either. And so I just think it was like a great representation of the deaf community. My grandmother was actually deaf, and so I just like know what it's like to communicate with someone who's deaf. That like means a lot to you. And I just loved that there was like something different in this book. Like it wasn't just your typical love story. It like threw in that twist of like, yeah, I don't know, it was just good representation for the deaf community. And also like the story was literally so beautiful, and I will be reading more by Mia Sheridan ASAP because this book was amazing. Okay, next we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I've actually never read any of Emily Henry's books. I do have Beach Read on my shelves here. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I saw some really mixed reviews about this. I was like, should this be the first Emily Henry book I read? I don't know. But I actually really did end up liking this. I didn't like love this. This is definitely like a book that like I read and then like you kind of forget about. Like it was good, you enjoyed it, but it's not something that I'm gonna like ever want to go revisit, if that makes sense. I did like reading about people who love books and writing and stuff. Obviously that's pretty cool, but it wasn't anything crazy. There wasn't any like crazy plot twists or anything. I think that I gave this a 3 stars. So like again, like I enjoyed it. I liked reading it. There wasn't anything bad, but it wasn't a book that I was like, I closed it and I was like, oh my god, you know? Next up, I read The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This was on the book talk like table at my Barnes & Noble, and I've like seen this cover a few times, but I haven't really heard much about it. So I don't know if it's like just now becoming popular or what. And I think that there's more books. I think this is a series. I don't know though for sure. I literally just picked it up randomly. I think I gave this either 3 or 4 stars as well. It was okay. Like I liked it. I was enjoying while I like read it. I enjoyed it while I was reading it. It is like a small town type of romance. But I don't know. Also, it's like Grumpy Sunshine, but it just wasn't like my favorite. Yeah, it wasn't bad by any means, but again, like I kind of closed it and I was like, okay, what's next type thing. Then I picked up another book talk book, and this is You've Reached Sam. I really wanted to read a book that would just make me sad. I was about to get my period at this point in the month, and I was like, I just want a really sad book. I don't know why. Like, sometimes I enjoy reading something that like makes you feel something. Does that make sense? I don't know. And I thought this was gonna be really sad. This is a super popular book. It was on sale at Target. I picked it up and I really did not enjoy this book at all. I gave it a 2 stars. Honestly, I feel like, without saying any spoilers, like obviously you know that the main character, one of the main characters is dead because it literally says it on the back. But the book starts off where he's like already dead, and so like there was no connection that I could get to him and their love story because he was already dead. If that makes sense. Why is my cat's tail just in the frame? Like, I just wish that it would have at least given us like a little bit longer of like a prologue or like something where we could fall in love with their love story, and then so when he does pass away you feel something more. Like, I honestly didn't really feel sad because I didn't really know, and I don't know, I feel like it was kind of weird. Like the way that she handles the grief too was kind of weird, which I know like everyone grieves in a different way, but like, yeah, I can't really say much because it's gonna be a spoiler, but I just thought the concept of this book was kind of weird if you've read it. So, and then I felt myself getting in a slump because I felt like I just was reading so many books with like the same type of tropes or just too much romance, and I was just kind of bored of it. And I love a good like thriller or mystery, and I've had this book on my shelf for a really long time. The first book I actually read this year was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then I read the second book. And I've had this one just sitting on my shelves, and this is As Good as Dead. It's the 3rd and final book in the series, and I read this and it was really, really good. I gave it up 4 stars. I think the series overall is really good. This one was definitely a lot more like dark than the other 2 books. Like, the other 2 books were more like cutesy, like she was just solving mysteries, and this one was kind of like, you know, I don't know. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed this series. It's a very like cute like intro to like a thriller type thing because it is YA, so it's not going to be like super scary. But yeah, then I started the Inheritance games, which I didn't think I was going to read this. I've been seeing it obviously a lot, and I don't know, I just didn't sound interested. But again, I didn't want to read any more romance at this point, and I had just finished like a thriller, so I didn't know if I wanted to read like another thriller. So I was like, I don't know. I don't really know what you would classify this as because there is definitely romance in here, but it's also like a mystery type thing because basically the main character inherits like a crazy amount of money from this guy that she doesn't know, or she doesn't think she knows, and then his whole family is really mad because why does this random girl get everything and they just got disinherited. And so the whole book they're trying to solve like who is this girl, and she's trying to solve like who is his guy. And I really like that. I literally read this I think in a day. I just kept turning the page because it was so good. I feel like every chapter there was like another part to the mystery, and so I really enjoyed that it was like fast paced. And I think I gave this one a 5 stars. Then next I picked up the Hearthstone Legacy. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is the 2nd book. I love these covers. I think they're just so pretty, and I love like the colors of them. But so I picked up this one, and I actually liked this one a little bit more because this one involved a little bit more of like a love triangle type. There's more romance to it, but the mystery got even deeper on this one. Like, I thought that the mystery was solved in this book, and then it completely switched tracks in this one, which I really love because again, I just kept turning the page. Like, I read through both of these books in 2 days. Absolutely love this series. 5 stars. And then the 3rd book I believe is coming out in August or September, so I'm very excited to read that. And then the last book that I read this month was a Colleen Hoover book. I try and read like 1 Colleen Hoover book a month because I'm trying to like not finish them all but also finish them all. And when I started off the year I read so many back to back that now I'm like kind of in like the like more less popular of her books that I'm like going through. So I started Maybe Someday, and this I believe has 3 books in a series, I want to say. Yeah, so Maybe Someday was my least favorite Colleen Hoover book that I've read so far, but I think that was to be expected because obviously certain books are super hyped up and certain books aren't, and that's totally fine. I don't expect like absolutely love every single book that I read by an author, but I do want to read all of her books. I didn't hate this by any means. I gave it a 3 stars. It was like cute. I liked it, but there's just like some things in this book where I was like, that's kind of, I didn't really agree with what the main characters were doing. I feel like if you've read this book, you know, but I don't want to like spoil anything. I didn't like love reading about that. It kind of felt like dirty in a way, like wrong. Like I wish that it kind of took a different path. And then obviously Colleen Hoover's books always have a humongous twist at the end. And this one, like it did have like a little twist, but like nothing like any of her past books. And like that's what I love about her books so much, is the crazy, crazy twists that are always in them. And this one was just a very like boring and didn't really like change anything. So yeah, but it wasn't horrible. I would definitely still recommend to read it if you like Colleen Hoover, but definitely not first. And I probably will eventually pick up the next 2 in this series because I want to read every single book that Colleen Hoover has ever wrote. So that is all of my June reads. I feel really good. I feel like I'm back on my reading game. I had some really good reads this month and some like okay ones, and I'm excited for July because there's like a lot of books that I want to get into. Yeah, I will have my Goodreads, my Amazon book wish list, and my Bookstagram in the description box if you want to see more of my book content. Yeah, leave me your favorite read of this month in the comments, because, or a book recommendation that I should read in July, because I'm very excited to read some more, as I said. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.